I'm Robert with Knowmium, and we're taking a look at Zoom breakout rooms. This video covers how to create the breakout rooms, also some options and tips that might help you along the way, how to operate, join, and leave those breakout rooms, and at the end of the video, we'll take a look at how to pre-assign breakout rooms from our meeting settings before the meeting ever begins. But let's start with in the Zoom meeting. We have 4 different guests today, and if I want to create breakout rooms for people to join and have small discussions or run some smaller activities, it's a great option. So I'm going to go to my toolbar, I'm going to hit breakout rooms, and it automatically gives me my first choices. How many rooms do I want? With only 4 participants, 2 is the great number, and I can assign them automatically. So Zoom just puts them in rooms at random, or I can assign them manually, which I'll do today. And I like to use the manual option when I have specific participants that need to be in specific rooms with others. When we go to create breakout rooms, it again gives us more options because I wanted to assign people manually. So to assign people manually, I just go to assign. I can put guest number 1 and guest number 2 in breakout room 1, and I can assign guest 3 and guest 4 in breakout room number 2. Now at this point, my participants cannot see this same menu, so they cannot see what you're doing as the host. If you'd like, you can rename those breakout rooms. Maybe we'll call this one the dance room, and then we can rename this one the conversation room, just for fun and to give it a little bit of personality. I also have some options at the bottom, which we should pay attention to. If I move all my participants to the breakout rooms automatically, it means they don't get to control when they go to the breakout rooms. It sends them there automatically. This is great if we have a lot of participants or if we are on a tight schedule. If I'm running just an internal meeting, I might allow my participants to join those breakout rooms whenever they're ready. I can also allow my participants to come back to the main room at any time, or I can uncheck that and force them to be in those breakout rooms until the host lets them out. We can assign times to breakout rooms. This is great if you're on a consistent schedule. However, if you have a discussion or an activity that needs to go longer, not choosing that option gives you, the host, the flexibility of when you close those breakout rooms. I like to include the countdown timer for the participants to see. So if the meeting is going to close in 30 seconds, or if the breakout rooms are going to close in 30 seconds, it tells them when they will be cut off and sent back to the main room. And the final thing to pay attention to is this countdown timer. I have to choose 10, 15, 30, 60, or 120 seconds from when I close the rooms until the participants are kicked out and brought back into the main room. The reason I like to keep mine low at 10, when I close the rooms, 10 seconds later, everyone's coming back to the main room. If something has gone wrong or I need to make some changes on the spot, if I have 120 seconds chosen, I have to wait a full 2 minutes before those breakout rooms actually close and everyone comes back to that main room. So I'm going to leave that at 10. Now, before I open those rooms, there's one more thing to consider as the host. Anything that you write in the chat box during the main room session, this will be visible in the breakout rooms. So if you have some instructions, if you have URLs, if you have special timing, and you want them to have that available, you need to put it in the chat box before the breakout rooms. Once the people are in the breakout rooms, they can use chat, but it only goes to people in their breakout room. You as the host can broadcast a message, which I'll show you in a few minutes, but you cannot use the chat box to communicate with all the breakout rooms at once. We hope in the future Zoom makes that option a little more flexible. So now I'm going to open all the rooms and people can join automatically, or I can just click, or I can choose when to move them. So as you see this white screen, that means I'm not using my Zoom video and nobody else is using their video in my room because they're already in those breakout rooms. Now, I can choose at any time to join a room or I can move somebody to any of the other rooms that I have created at any time as the host. So I'm going to go ahead and join the conversation room. It does take a moment for the windows to change, and now I'm in that breakout room with these two guests, guest number 3 and guest number 4, as we can see. I can open that chat box, and there is that message that I sent to everybody that will still be there in all the breakout rooms. But notice, I only have the option to communicate with guest number 3 and 4 when I'm in this breakout room. Now, another thing we can do, whether we're in the main room or whether we're in a breakout room, is I can go back into my breakout room menu. Not only can I leave and join breakout rooms, but I can broadcast a message to everyone. I can say 5 minutes left, or I could give them any other instruction or reminder that I need. It doesn't show up on my host panel, but all of the guests will receive an announcement at the top of their screen that I send, and I can broadcast as many of those as I want. I'm going to choose to close all the rooms, and you'll see that timer at the bottom counting down from 10, and I can wait for that, or I can choose to return myself to the main session, and the guests have that choice as well. Before your meeting, if you'd like to plan breakout rooms so you don't have to do it during the meeting, you can pre-plan those breakout rooms from your meeting settings. You'll see on the screen, I'm not logged into the Zoom meeting, I'm logged into my Zoom account, and in the meeting, I can find breakout room pre-assigned. Now, I will need the email addresses of my participants in order to register them and put them in those breakout rooms. I can import that using a CSV file, or I can go directly into create rooms using those emails to put them into different rooms.